I mean, what interested me about the character is, you know, and this is an answer that talks about Paul as well, is exploring opposites, is, you know, trying to kind of portray a man with an extreme violent past, but allow the softness to exist in that as well. And it's always a fascination with me with other male performances is, you know, the different, the opposites and the kind of conflicting energies of masculinity, if there is such a definition, a universal definition of it, but that sort of cliched version of masculinity mixed with being able to see a child in a person and a sensitivity. And I just tried to go into this process without judging it too much, knowing that Paul is a very specific director who knows, as a writer, particularly what he wants. And just put myself in his hands, knowing, having seen his work, that he's good at looking after these performances. And, you know, he has a particular way that he sees them. So it's just like, all right, well, I'll give myself to you and you do with me whatever you want. You know, the patience that's required of being a gardener and of being a horticulturalist or working in that field, being in nature, they're all things that we equate with a certain peacefulness. And I think, again, you know, this is Paul's ability to create a sort of visual debate on film, which is what a lot of his films seem to be. It's like, yes, they're stories, but they're also like a kind of a sparking of conversation or an inflammation of an idea, is about creating polar opposites. You know, Nárvell and Maya are like two people who shouldn't be together, or in some people's minds shouldn't be together. And he finds a way to go, let's connect these two people. But the conundrum in the middle of it is that Nárvell has to acknowledge a really more complicated and violent past and shed some kind of skin. And the whole film and the whole debate around the film is full of opposites. And within my character, there's opposites. Me and Maya are opposite. And the whole kind of tapestries that Paul creates, religion and environmental activism and all his other stories, you know, torture and poker. It's like he goes, all right, let's grab two opposite things and find a way to make them collide with each other. My impression of Scipione, in many ways, is predominantly the impression she made on me in Alien. You know, and I'll always have that version of her, of a good person. So it's interesting, like a good, courageous, active hero. And then, you know, to come back together and work with her in a way where she is benign in a certain way, and yet there's a power to her because of wealth. And there's also a sort of a latent, fierce, you know, entitled judgment and racism that's bubbling away under the surface that we glimpse. There's just a moment in the film that I think really sums up for me just how powerful an actress Scipione is. And it's in these sort of non-verbal moments that I really, really get electrified by other actors' performances. And there's a moment where she's watching me undress, knowing what's on my skin. And you see this sort of like, it's like this look to me, I don't know what was going through her mind, but of being turned on more than just about the form of a body, but the markings of that. And it says so much about her character. And I love that it's the opposite of Ripley. It's the opposite of that other image I have of Sigourney.